Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a holiday card that features some brand new products from Pinkfresh Studio. I shared another card featuring this release yesterday on my YouTube channel, so if you missed that, be sure to check it out. But today I wanted to use this gorgeous winter berries set from Pinkfresh Studio. Now the thing I love about this is that there is a hot foil plate or a stamp set available, and you can use this with the layering stencils, but I feel like if you changed up the colors, you could really use this year round. So I'm going to be using a bunch of products from the Winter Berries product suite here. I'm also going to be using the Holly Jolly hot foil sentiment and coordinating die, which is brand new from Pinkfresh Studio. And I'm starting out by hot foiling this Winter Berries design onto some Concord and Ninth white cardstock using champagne foil from Spellbinders. So I'm just going to run that through my Platinum 6. And keep in mind, if foiling is not your thing, number one, you should totally make it your thing. But number two is that you could use the stamp set and some gold embossing powder in place of these winter berries to create a similar design. So now I have two brand new sentiments. These are hot foil only sentiments from Pinkfresh Studio. I'm going to allow them to heat up on my Glimmer platform, press the timer. Once the timer is complete, I can go ahead and remove the platform from the base of the Glimmer machine. Go ahead and take that over to my Platinum 6. I've added my champagne foil with the pretty side facing the design of the hot foil plates. Then I've added my white cardstock. This is from Concord and Ninth. This is their white cardstock, which foils so beautifully. I've added the thin shim and the spacer pad to that sandwich, run that through my Platinum 6. And now I have a beautifully foiled winterberry image. Now I'm going to add color to these images using the coordinating layering stencils. And in order to hold my stencils and my paper in place while I'm stenciling, I'm going to use my Waffle Flower grip mat. Now this is the largest of the sizes that Waffle Flower offers. This is the 8.5 by 8.5. And you can see I removed the backers from both the front and the back of the grip mat because that holds it in place on my glass work surface. And you can see that that stencil is staying in place. I'm not using any extra tape or adhesive, and I absolutely have been loving this grip mat for stenciling. So I'm going to start out by coloring the leaves. This is stencil number 1 of the Winter Berries layering stencil set. And I am doing a light blend of Pinkfresh Studio mint ink over the entire thing. Now I'm going to bring in Pinkfresh olive ink. And I am going to add some olive to these leaves as well, but I'm not going all the way to the end of the leaves. I'm kind of starting at the base and kind of blending out. You can see I'm leaving some of that mint showing, but I'm going to end up using 3 colors on these leaves to really build up the depth and dimension and kind of give it a little more, I don't know, flair. But these are gorgeous images, whether you do all of the colors or just one of the colors. Now for the final color on the leaves, I'm using Pinkfresh Studio Evergreen ink, and I've switched over to the 1/2-inch blending brush from Pinkfresh Studio because this allows me to really focus this darkest ink at the very base or the innermost part of the leaves and not go too far out with it. I find that when I'm trying to concentrate like a shadow of color with my ink blending into a certain area, that switching over to these 1/2-inch blending brushes really helps control where I'm putting the ink. Now, once I've blended over the entire stencil, I'm going to go ahead and wipe the excess ink off of the stencil and remove it, and you're going to see this gorgeous ink blending that I have on my images. Now keep in mind, if you're using the stamped images, you can do the same exact thing. The stencils work with that as well. Now I'm lining up stencil number 2, and this is part of the berry design of the Winter Berries set. So this is going to be all pinks for me. I've decided that pink and green is my theme for Christmas this year. I've created a color palette that I absolutely love on this card project, and I think you're going to see a lot of it from me this holiday season. So I've started out by blending Ballet Slipper over all of the berries, and then I've switched over to that 1/2-inch blending brush again, And I'm using Coral Reef ink from Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm adding just a little bit to the base of the berries. So I'm not going over the entire surface of all of the berries, but I'm just kind of starting on the stencil and blending it into just a portion of that berry. And like I said, that 1/2 inch blending brush is really helpful for me to kind of control where I'm placing the ink. Now for stencil number 3, it is the rest of the berries in this design. So I love that you can get multicolored berries with these stencils. And I'm going to start by blending Coral Reef ink over all of the berries. So Coral Reef is going to act as my base color for these berries. And then I'm going to wipe off the excess ink, and I'm going to bring in Pinkfresh Studio Candy Apple ink and blend just a little bit of that in to these darker berries. So my lighter berries are Ballet Slipper and Coral Reef ink, and my darker berries are Coral Reef and Candy Apple. And I think this makes for a beautiful kind of variation in the berries. Now keep in mind, you could do all the berries the same, or you could use the same inks that you used on stencil number 1 and use a heavier hand on stencil number 2. So you don't have to have all of these ink colors, but I have them in my stash, and I really wanted to kind of take my time and create. On this particular day, I was really just setting out to create something that I really loved. And so I was taking my time. I didn't even know if it would be something that I would share on my channel or if I would even finish a project, but I just grabbed things that I gravitated towards and started creating. And look at that beautiful panel of winter berries that I have there. So now I can go ahead and use the coordinating die and die cut all of these berries or these winter berry sprigs at once. I'm also going to use the coordinating die and die cut the fa la la and the holly jolly sentiments. Now you will notice that in my finished card project, I actually hot foiled the holly jolly onto some salmon cardstock instead. It's so beautiful, but I used the same process, so I didn't show that in the video here. And you can see that this winterberry design is great because you can actually use it as a frame on your card front. So just by itself, even without the die, it makes for a great background or a great frame. Or you can die cut them and rearrange them in different ways, or you can layer them up like I'm doing today. So I am going to hot foil the winterberry design again, but this time I'm doing it onto some vellum, which looks absolutely beautiful. I'll die cut those out and I'm gonna kind of layer them in with the stenciled pieces that I've already created. And I was so obsessed with these winter berries that I decided to hot foil them one more time, and this time onto the Stamp Market greenery cardstock, which I love this green for Christmas. It is like such a perfect green. So I'm going to run that through my Platinum 6 machine, and you're going to see how beautiful this design looks just as it is on this colored cardstock. Now for this particular piece here, I'm going to actually go ahead and add a little bit of ink blending to it. I'm not going through all the stencils. I'm just using stencil number 1, and I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the leaves. So I'm just taking the 1/2 inch blending brush again and the Pinkfresh Studio Evergreen ink and just blending a little bit of ink at the base of these leaves to add just a little bit of dimension to them or a little bit of shading. And these look absolutely beautiful when they're done. I was just kind of blown away. I'm really crushing on green these days. And if I could find this color shirt, this greenery cardstock colored shirt for me to wear, I might just wear it all the time. So you can see that that little bit of ink blending at the base of the leaves really adds just a little touch of dimension to this. Now I've gone ahead and die cut the green leaves using the coordinating die, and now I'm just kind of arranging things onto a faux card front here. I'm just kind of getting my bearings here and deciding what I really want to create. Now I have a bunch of elements here. I have these stenciled elements that we created at first. I have the vellum elements. I have the green elements. I have my sentiment, and then I also have some snowflakes from the large snowflake die set from Pinkfresh Studio. And once I got everything kind of where I wanted it, I went ahead and grabbed my phone, took a picture of the arrangement so that I could recreate it. And for my card front, I decided to die cut a panel of that greenery cardstock using the Pinkfresh Studio diagonal stitched rectangle die. So once I have these kind of where I want them, I kind of hold them in place and then just tuck my glue tip behind them to make sure that I kind of secure everything. I'm kind of looking at it from the front, making sure I have what I want, and just kind of arranging all of these pieces together. I know this is kind of an awkward way to do things, but this helps me kind of see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Now I've arranged the green leaves onto the green card base, and then I'm just kind of picking up areas and sneaking some glue behind it. I did leave some of the leaves loose so that I could kind of curl them up and create some dimension. So I'm not putting glue all over the entire backs of these die cut pieces, but just kind of adhering them in place with the liquid glue. Now for my sentiment grouping, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that onto the card front using some foam adhesive, and I'll place the foam adhesive on the back and then just grab this entire thing with my tweezers to kind of help me place it onto my card front. And I have to tell you, when I saw this right here, when it all kind of came together for me, I thought, if I could be a card, this is the card that I would be. I absolutely love the color combination. I love this banner that I'm placing here at the bottom, which is from the basic banners set. I actually used this in yesterday's card where I featured some brand new products from Pinkfresh Studio as well. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll put a card in the upper right-hand corner. But I've just layered up a couple of those banners with that heat embossed sentiment. And then I'm just going to tuck in some droplets to kind of embellish the card front. Not that it really needed it, but it was just kind of something that kind of brought in the various layers and textures that I love so much. Now I adhered this entire card front onto an ivory card base that I created with some Hero Arts antique ivory cardstock, and that finishes off the card that I would be if I could be a handmade card. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I'll have that linked below as well. Over there, you're going to find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. This project is also part of a hop happening over on Instagram today. So if you want to join in on the fun and enter to win prizes, be sure to click the link to my Instagram profile in the YouTube description below. As always, I just want to say thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this card project and this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here so you don't miss any of my videos. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm so glad you're here. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.